thing down, I'm gonna bring the whole fucking diseased, corrupt temple down on your head. It's gonna be biblical.
Hello there and welcome to Patriots Across the Pond and Friends, episode 14 with Stu and wElisa V. Today we have an absolutely amazing guest on, Mr. Phil Tourney. Phil was a US Navy war veteran. He's a survivor of the USS Liberty attack. He's a winner of the Bronze Star V and the Purple Heart. He did 2 tours in Vietnam on the USS Mauna Kea, hope I pronounced that right. And he is the president of the USS Liberty Veterans Association. And by Jove, does Phil have an amazing story to tell. So how are you guys?
Doing good, Stu. Yeah. So glad to have you here, Phil.
Well, thank you both. I really appreciate it, Stu and wElisa. It's my honor to be here and share a story with you guys, a real life story, and that a lot of people haven't heard about, or they have and didn't really know exactly what happened. But it's my goal and has been my goal for the last 40 years. I've dedicated my life to the 34 men that were murdered that day by Israel, June 8, 1967, in a 2-hour premeditated attack on our helpless, unarmed spy ship. There were 294 men aboard that ship. 34 were killed and 174 other were seriously wounded, including myself. I was wounded, but I was walking wounded, thank God. But a lot of the others weren't quite that lucky.
Yeah.
Bless you.
Your story is incredible. So everybody needs to know this. And I would venture to say majority of people have no clue. They don't know. They don't understand what went on that day and what was going on behind the scenes that, you're trying to bring to light. But we wanted to start off, right, Stu? We know that we had to cancel last week because your friend got into an accident with a deer. So we just wanted to check in on the status of everything.
Well, he's doing well. His name is Ronnie Yushimama. He's from he was born here in America, but he's Japanese and a great guy, very religious man. And I live, I don't know, it's about 60 miles from where he got wrecked. He hit a deer and totaled his car. Thank God he's safe and he's back home. He had to rent a U-Haul to get back home because there weren't any cars available. So, but he made it back home, so he's fine. And thank you for asking.
Okay.
Yeah, our pleasure. I don't think his car's too well, is it?
No, it's gone.
No.
Wow.
Okay, right. I have got the Sacrificing Liberty trailer. It's a 4-minute trailer. If you want me to play that at any time, I can play that off. But that's up to you if you want to play that any time in the show.
Mm-hmm.
But wElisa, do you want to?
Yeah, I would love you. Okay, so, Phil, what's really interesting is that the three of us are here today, and I think we all met, if you will, for during the making of Dear Mr. President, the documentary about censorship. And so that's how I met you, Phil, and I met Stu. And so I think part of what you've been through, a lot of that has been, at its top level censorship from the day of the event, right? Where you were basically told to be silent. So maybe what would be a great idea would be to tell what happened, the events that happened that day, what you experienced, and then we can move into the passion that you've carried to make the awareness of this event so that everybody knows what really went on, and then we'll lead into the documentary and of course your book.
Okay, well, thank you, and I'll give you a good rundown, the best I can. We were off the coast of Africa. We docked in Abidjan. That was usually one of our ports we stopped at. Our mission aboard the Liberty, of course, it was the most sophisticated ship in the world at that time. In 1967. It was number 5 in the class of 5 different other spy ships. The Liberty was the last. We got emergency orders. We just docked in Abidjan. We got emergency orders minutes after we got there to get everybody back aboard the ship immediately. We're going out to waters unknown. We didn't know where we were going. They got everybody back aboard, and we were like a bullet. That old ship was a World War II Victory hull ship. They called them one-wayers. It was converted into the spy ship in Bremerton, Washington. So it was like a brand new ship. Everything was painted. The most sophisticated spies you could get on there, CIA, NSA type people, all of them with crypto top secret clearances. I was not one of the spies. I was in ship's company in engineering and damage control was my position under attack. We took off. We went to Rota, Spain. That's when we knew we were going into the Middle East. We picked up 3 marine linguists. I believe one was Russian, and the other 2, I think one was a Hebrew linguist, and the other one, I'm not sure. And we also picked up several civilians, NSA, CIA type people, and we were off. The ship was going as fast as it could to get into the Mediterranean in the 6-Day War. We knew the 6-Day War was going on then. On the way there, Captain McGonigal, who did receive the Medal of Honor for his courageous actions during the attack, he asked Washington for a destroyer escort. And I'll remind you, as we were going into the Mediterranean, all the ships were going the other way, and we were the only one going that way into the war zone. Captain McGonigal was turned down by the highest authorities in the United States of America. You do not need an escort. You have an American flag. You're clearly marked GTR 5 on your hull. You got USS Liberty on the back, and your American flag is your shield. Don't worry about anything. If anything was to happen, we would come to your aid. We got on station on the 7th of June, and immediately following that, we were reconned by Israeli aircraft, a Nor Atlas, which is a flying boxcar. It's a French plane, and DC-3 and smaller aircraft. All of them had the Star of David on them, both of you guys, Stu and Lisa. They had the Star of David on them. They tipped their wings, and we waved at them. We felt, wow, this is great, because we got our best buddies there to help us if anything happens, because we could see the bombs going off on the coast. We go to bed that night, get up the next morning, same thing again. Israeli aircraft circling the ship, taking pictures. We would wave at them, they'd wave at us. We felt very good because the bombs going off, and we all thought, wow, I'm glad we're not over there on the beach, because they're catching hell over there. I mean, you could see the bombs, the black smoke. Unbelievable. And all of a sudden at 2:00, we get attacked by unmarked jet aircraft, Mystere and Mirage jets. At least 30 sorties over our ship in a 25-minute period by these jets. They fired rockets, cannons, machine guns at us. They dropped napalm on our ship. That was in the first 25 minutes. All of our antennas and gun, we only had 450 caliber machine guns as protection, which meant nothing. That was all taken out. Within 3 seconds, we were incommunicado. We had no way to communicate. Can you imagine the most sophisticated ship in the world? And we can't get a message out until Terry Haldabardi, a third-class radioman, hooked up a long wire at great personal risk to himself and got a message out. Rockstar, under attack by unknown jet aircraft. Rockstar, help. This was picked up by Captain Tully of the USS Saratoga. He immediately launched to have aircraft come to our aid. Those aircraft were recalled by Secretary of State Robert Strange McNamara. Do not help Liberty. Do not help Liberty. Return to base. Moments after that, the America and the Saratoga launched again. They went to a higher authority. They said, we want a higher authority. We're sending aircraft to help Liberty. Lyndon Baines Johnson got on the line, and he said, turn those GD aircraft around. Do not help Liberty. Do not help Liberty. Return to base immediately. He says, I don't give a GD about a few dead sailors. I will not embarrass our ally, Israel. How did he know who was attacking us when we didn't?
Yeah.
So then the torpedo boats show up. And this is another hour and a half of attack by the torpedo boats over and over again.
Phil, I want to just ask you a question, not to interrupt you, but
Sure.
I've never served in the military, Stu. I don't know if you have either. So we've never been in that situation of combat or, being attacked. While this attack was happening, what were you doing? What, like your mental state, what was going through your mind, and then physically, what were the men doing?
It's a good question, Elisa. What all men were doing that weren't immediately wounded so terribly or killed. The airplanes killed 9 in the initial strike and wounded scores more. But we were trying to help each other get men off the deck that were bleeding, broken. It was awful. I had just left the forward gun mount about 30 seconds before the attack started. And I told the guys up there, I said, I'd hate to be here if we got attacked, anything happened. As soon as I got down the ladder and went to my workspace, those 2 men, Thompson and Skolak, were blown to mist. They were blown to bits. All that was left is little pieces of them. And we were just helping each other, and we couldn't figure out why no help was coming to us, because we were promised help. And even though that another hour and a half went by with relentless attacks by their torpedo boats, they fired 5 torpedoes at us. 5 torpedoes. By the grace of God, 4 of them missed and 1 hit in the research spaces, blowing to bits 25 American spies, CIA and NSA personnel. It blew them to bits. It was just horrific. When the torpedo struck our ship, it picked it up out of the water and slammed it back down, and it started to roll over, and we thought it was going to sink, and it just stopped by the hand of God. The only person there, the only entity that wanted to come help us was Jesus Christ, our Savior. I give all power to him for giving me the opportunity to be alive and tell this story as well. But so this went on. Nobody ever come and helped us. We put over life rafts. We only had 3 life rafts left. They shot all of them up or burned them up with the napalm. They shot the life rafts out of the water. We were going to put our most seriously wounded in them so they'd have a chance at life. And they wouldn't even do that. They wouldn't even let us try to save our shipmates. They shot them out of the water. They wanted no survivors. No survivors at all. And then we think the attack's over. Here comes troop carrying helicopters with Israeli commandos in them, ready to board our ship. And all of a sudden, they just left. I guess they confessed too early. The gig was up. They said, oh, it was a mistaken identity. I don't think they ever said they were sorry. A mistaken identity, and that's kind of where they left it. We didn't see any help for 17 hours. I helped in one operation that night with a guy by the name of Gary Blanchard holding a battle ladder. Doc Kiefer was getting ready to open him up. He said, my feet are hot. I took his socks off, rubbed his feet. I went over to his side, and he looked at me. He says, Tourney, you think I'm going to make it? And I said, no, man, I don't think you are. Doc cut him open, and he was dead. And that went on all one night. They sewed him up with a couple of stitches and moved on to the next one. So that's how bad it was. We didn't see any help for 17 hours after the fact.
Awful.
That
The
is
the USS America arrived along with the USS Davis and USS Massey. They came aboard and did all they could to help shore up the torpedo hole and everything, get all the wounded off. They medevaced them to the America and the Little Rock, which one of my friends was, he went to the Little Rock. Mo Schaefer, he was a spy, CT2. He was in where the torpedo hit. And by the grace of God, they got out of there. Some of them did, some of them didn't. But he went to that ship, and he was told that they wouldn't allow anybody to help us. They wanted to, but they couldn't because of Johnson and the administration. After they got everybody off, they sent us to Malta. About 2 days out to sea, an admiral comes aboard, Admiral Isaac Kidd, and his JAG officer, Captain Ward Boston. They interrogated us in small groups. Now, it was only a skeleton crew left aboard the ship. Most of them were hurt, killed, or whatever. They were gone. So it was a skeleton crew. He got us in small groups. He took off his stars. He says, I'm just like your dad. Tell me everything you saw, you heard. I want it all for the record. We told him exactly what happened. I told him, I said, Admiral, he says, I'm not an admiral. Just talk to me like I'm your dad. And I did. I told him everything I saw. I says, well, how come help didn't come? They shoot up our life rafts. I mean, how could this happen from a supposed ally? And then he got beat red, and he told all of us, and he got right in my face. He says, if you ever breathe the word to anybody, your parents, anybody, especially the media, I'll guarantee you'll end up in Leavenworth or worse. And he beat red, and he says, do you understand what worse means? I said, yes, sir, I do. That's where the cover-up began, right there. They shut us all up. In fact, they took all the cameras they could confiscate off the ship, our personal cameras. They said, turn them in. So we couldn't record anything. I mean, this cover was so tight, and it's just as tight today. And it's been that way for the last 58 years. Our own government set us up to sink, to bring us into World War III on the side of Israel, sinking our ship and blaming it on Nasser. They hated Nasser. So LBJ, and so did Levi Eskol. He was the prime minister of Israel at the time. So they hated it, and we were the scapegoats. We were the lambs to go to the bottom. And you can imagine what the American people would have said. Oh my God, the Egyptians sunk that ship. Go get them. And then they would have got oceans of blood. Our ship not sinking, by the grace of God, saved millions of lives, because nuclear war was only 3 minutes away. They had SAC aircraft in the air on the way to bomb Cairo even before our ship got attacked. So they figured it'd be easy for the mighty IDF to sink us in this 2-hour bloodbath. But what we did, we kicked their ass and didn't fire a shot. And the mighty IDF got their ass kicked by a bunch of unarmed sailors by staying afloat, and they can't stand it. They even took one of the lifeboats. They sunk two, the only three we had. They sunk two and took one aboard their boat as a trophy of the kill. It's in Haifa, I heard, at a museum, a trophy for killing American servicemen, sailors, and Marines on the high seas. So that's how bad it was, and it's the same thing today. It's worse now than it ever was. In fact, LBJ paid them more money for murdering Americans than they ever got in their life, since their existence in 1948, and that's still going on.
Yeah.
Just another demonstration of this evil cabal we're up against.
Absolutely, and it is an evil cabal.
Yeah.
They don't care who they kill or why they kill them. And to be honest with you, and I'll always believe this, it was nothing but a land grab in 1967. That's what they wanted, was land, all of it. If our ship goes down then, they would have got what they wanted. In fact, the war in Gaza wouldn't be happening right now if our ship would have went down, because they'd have got it all right then with America's backing. That's what they wanted. Now look what they did to Gaza. Look at the death, the destruction, the starvation, the pain, the brutal beatings, the rapes. I could go on and on and on. You looked at those pictures so many times. I cry when I look at them. They're so horrific and terrible. How could anybody treat a human being like that? Anybody?
Because they've got no soul, and
Yeah.
they're not human, are they? And this is what this military alliance, we believe, behind the scenes are eradicating from the earth, slowly but surely.
Absolutely, I agree, Stu. And it takes good Americans, and I'm talking about you too, Stu. It takes people around the world that care about their families, that care about our world, to fight back, and we can do it with social media. I mean, to hell with mainstream media, CBS, NBC, Fox News, Newsmax, all of them. They're all bought and paid for, owned by Jewish people. Richard Murdoch, look how he owns several newspapers, Fox News and everything else. And another great offender is Newsmax. I mean, they went over to Israel to get a blessing from Netanyahu, and all they talk about is how great that guy is. Well, he's a mass murderer, is what he is. He's worse than Hitler.
Yeah. Now, after that, like that situation where the admiral dad, right? What a horrible guy. After that happened, what happened next? Like, what was the next course that you went through? And if you could just share a little bit about what happened when you got back to the States and with this cover up, like how mentally, like where were you? Because I can't imagine the betrayal, that you felt in that moment when you were told that, but then coming back and having to be silenced. Like, what did you do next?
What we did next, well, we went to Malta, Lisa, and they repaired the ship like brand new. Now, what the crew wanted aboard there was fix the torpedo hole and leave the ship battle scarred, so everybody in the world and everybody in America could see what they did to us. No, they didn't do that. They cut out over 821 rocket and cannon holes, over 5,000 armor-piercing bullets, napalm that had burned the whole side of the starboard side of the ship up. They fixed everything, painted it up, made it look like it was brand new, like nothing ever happened. And in Malta, the grim task for the CTs, the guys that were still able to function, had to go down in those torpedo spaces and pry apart their own men from pieces of furniture, computers, arms, legs, heads, all of it. And it was the stench left on that ship was so sickening. It was the smell of death all the way back home. You could barely even eat. food because it was so prominent. They never could get rid of that. You can't get rid of the smell of death. And those poor men were in that salt water for 7 days, bouncing around. Oh my God, I can't imagine. I wasn't part of that crew that went down there because I didn't have a top secret clearance. That's how secret it was. They wanted everybody with top secret clearances down there picking up their own shipmates. And if that isn't a horrible thing to think about, and these men live with that to this day, the ones that are alive. And we're dwindling down, by the way, but we get back to America, no fanfare, nothing, no big deal. They had family members there, no dignitaries to meet us, nothing, like it never happened. In fact, they took us to a different port. They put us into Little Creek instead of Norfolk. That was our main port, to even further hide the cover up. And we didn't say anything. I didn't say anything about it 18 years after the fact. I was too afraid to.
Wow. And you were how old when you were on that ship?
You're 20, weren't you?
Yes, I was, Stu. I was 18 when I got aboard Liberty, and I was 20 when the attack began in June 8th, 1967 at 2 o'clock their time.
Because I just want to say something about that Elisa's been doing this a long time, trying to wake people up, and I've been doing it nearly 25 years. And there's a lot of people in this movement, I wish things would hurry up, and I wish that, and this, that, and everything like that. But I think you're 77 now, aren't you? So you've been trying to get this truth out for somewhere around 57 years.
Yeah, well, I'll be 79 in a few days. So, yeah, I've been doing it as long as I can, and if I'm not going to quit until if I'm in the hospital dying, I'm going to have a microphone on talking about the USS Liberty and the 34 men that were killed that day, slaughtered, blown to bits. They never got a chance at life. They were young men just like me. No lives, no chance to live, not to love, have a family. I mean, that was all taken away for a false flag to sink us all. We were all targets. And again, I give all power to Jesus Christ for saving that ship. And he saved us for a reason, to talk about it, to tell the truth. And, we've been trying it. The Congress says it's been investigated over and over again. They're liars. It's never been investigated. Never, ever, ever has it been investigated. If you write to Congress and ask them about the USS Liberty, be prepared to be lied to, because they lie like rugs. And if you'll notice, 90% of them are all taking AIPAC money. They're all bought and paid for whores of the Zionist state, either by Epstein files, something else, greed, power, money. They're all corrupt, all of them, 90%. Now, Marjorie Taylor Greene, she's retiring. She hasn't taken any money. Tom Massey hasn't taken any money, and several others. I might add this, Congressman Pete McCluskey that supported us. He's long dead now. Jim Traficant, he supported us. They kicked him out of Congress and put him in jail. Cynthia McKinney, she had a one term and they got rid of her. Paul Finley, same thing. Adlai Stevenson, same thing. He ran for governor, and the Jewish groups were against him because he supported the USS Liberty. So it's taboo. They would rather forget about those 34 men that were killed that day, almost starting World War III. That's how secret this is. That's why they don't want it out. They say, well, it's been 58 years. Okay, yeah, it's been 58 years, but it's still classified as top secret. What could be top secret now? Right. I mean, it's been 58 years. There's no top secret. They just don't want the truth to be told. The truth would bring down the Zionist state of Israel right now. If the truth be told that our government colluded and corrupted a bunch of politicians to go along with this terrible, terrible thing they did to us. And they just didn't do it to America. They did it to the world. They did it to the whole world if a nuclear war breaks out.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's important, just as important now, probably more important, you guys, than it has been in 58 years. It really is. That's why I started my podcast, the Tourney podcast.com. If you wanted to check it out, please do. But if you guys wanted to run that trailer, that would be super. I'd appreciate that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
let me
we'll
find
do
that.
And I want to say one thing, because you obviously, these were men. They were fighting and they were protecting our country and they were in the military. But I'm a mom and I have a 19 and a 20-year-old, and you know what I call them? Kids.
Sure.
Kids. They're kids.
Absolutely. Yeah.
They're acting like men. Their bravery is like a man. But they're kids, and their lives were stolen.
Absolutely. They were stolen by our own country, giving them the green light to sink us. I might add this too. There was a Russian submarine under us that was ready to nuke the Temple Mount. They had a reflective. They need something reflective, so they were going to nuke Israel if this goes on. And here we go with Russia, the United States, and who knows who else. How bad was this going to get? But nuclear war was on the table, all for the greater good of Israel. That's all. That's what it was all about. Land, just like it is now. They went over land, but that land they're trying to take now, or already have taken, is unholy land. That is a killing field. I wouldn't want to step foot on that place. It's cursed. It's definitely cursed. And I might add one thing. Candace Owens is a great supporter of the USS Liberty. She's a dear friend of mine, and I adore her. I love her to death. She's getting death threats. I mean, they got a hit out on her now to kill her. And I want everybody to take a second and pray for Candace and her safety. I hope she runs for president. Candace, 2028. Boy, would that be a godsend.
Yeah, I watched your interview with Candice. It was amazing. I just want to say that even though this is trying to be, brushed under the carpet and stuff, you will never forget. Every podcaster, everyone watching this will never forget. Every patriot, everyone in this awakening movement is never going to forget this. And I think this is all being exposed and coming in now, especially with you going on in Candice like that. We read in the Q drops that he said Israel for last, and there was so much eyes on this now that I can see this sort of escalating to this truth really, really coming out. And what you're doing, putting this information out about the liberty, is outstanding work.
Yeah,
I appreciate that. Thank you so much. But it's something I have to do. I mean, it keeps me alive. I have a purpose, and maybe it was always my purpose. I don't know. God put it on me, and it's been a blessing, and it's also been a curse. I get accused of being an anti-Semite, a drunk, a homophobe, a child rapist, convict, anything you can say bad about me. They've done it. They've tried to destroy my character. I mean, not quite as bad as a lot of people. I'm just small potatoes. But people like Candace and Tucker Carlson and Joe Rogan and people like that. I mean, that believe in the truth and believe in that American flag you have behind you, that red, white, and blue, that beautiful red, white, and blue. It has nothing to do with Israel. We have one country, our country. To hell with the rest of them. And I say that with all due respect. They can protect themselves. And I don't mean that to hurt anybody or hate anybody, but America comes first. Make America great. I don't know how great it is now. We're about to get in a war with Venezuela. I'm not sure, both of you, what your thoughts on are that, but I don't think our country's in good shape right now.
Well, I think, and I'll let Stu express his opinion. I think that where we stand, and we have this in common, we really think that we're in possibly the best place we ever have been. And the reason is because, as horrific as everything looks on the surface, I think we've got military operations right now that are very top secret, that are happening all over the world, that there's a world alliance, and that this stuff would never be able to come out the way it's coming out. Okay. if it wasn't for the fact that I believe the white hats are in control. Now, having said that, there's been an awful lot of work that's had to be done. There's been an awful lot of bad people that have had to be taken out. There's probably so much more than we could even imagine. And we could imagine a lot because we're all tuned in and we're all following a lot of this. So I truly believe that the dark is being exposed, and it has been being exposed for the last 5 years, and that more and more people are starting to understand. They're understanding that the media is no good, that they can't trust them. That's why people like yourself, Phil, and us, and so many others that are podcasters are becoming the new media, because we're looking for the truth and exposing it, no matter how ugly and how uncomfortable it is. And I think that people are starting to realize all the other segments that we've been controlled by, the education department, the medical industrial complex, that there's so much that's gone into, let's say maybe the last 60 years. And I would venture to say that even in the midst of the horrific experience you went through, I'm sure there were factions that were trying to fight that, and that were probably starting to embed themselves so that we could get to where we are today. So I don't see it as bad. I see it that we're really getting to the point where things are going to turn around, but it's going to be a little ugly because this stuff is coming out. And the work that you do is so vital. And the fact that people like Candace and Tucker and Joe Rogan are putting you first and foremost, and there's so many more podcasters. You just have to keep getting your message out and getting people on your show and, getting yourself on shows. I think that we are in the turn. I think that it's just we can't really see it yet with the naked eye.
Oh, I agree 100%. The social media is the way to go. And I might add that, a dear friend of mine, Ray Douster, I know you've spoken to him.
Yeah.
A great guy. And people should follow him too on Deep Shallow Dive. It's a great show. He has great guests. A brilliant man talking to people that, know what they're talking about. And I recommend go to Deep Shallow Dive. Of course, with my podcast too, Tourney.com. And you get shirts like this, hats, so many different things, cups, everything supporting Phil Tourney podcast and the USS Liberty. And it's my honor to have that role. It's been an exciting ride for me, even with all the ups and downs. I wouldn't change it for nothing.
Yeah.
No, I would also just on that point you just made that Trump said we will never telegraph our intentions to the enemy. So if we're hearing everywhere, this is happening, this is what's going down with Venezuela and stuff, there's a good chance that there's something else going on. And this is being put into the spotlight as a confusion tactic and stuff like that, while operations are going on elsewhere. In a lot of the islands, taking down cabal members, taking down cartels and all these sorts of things. So, eyes on that for sure. So, should I play this Sacrificing Liberty trailer now?
Absolutely.
Okay, everyone, this take us off the screen, but this is 4 minutes long, just over.
That's what the world really doesn't know today, and I think it's why we were sworn to secrecy, is how close we really came to a potential nuclear holocaust.
You know how much press the nuclear warheads got when they landed in Cuba?
The step toward world thermonuclear war.
Well, this was 1,000 times worse, but nobody knows about it.
Another victim was the United States naval vessel Liberty. She was mistaken for an Egyptian vessel, and Israeli ships and planes torpedoed and strafed her.
The story of the Liberty is not a whodunit, it's a whydunit.
The casualties were high, 34 American dead and 75 wounded. There were arguments later about how the error happened.
The reality of what happened is it was not a mistake, and they wanted to sink us, and what does that mean to this country?
Case closed, mistaken identity. We're very sorry. Is there anything else I can help you with?
Well, there's no question. It was a big cover-up from the top on down.
What did we do wrong? Why were we Why are we being labeled the bad guys and we can't talk about it?
For the next 40 plus years, I never said anything to anyone.
No. Never.
I knew it would be the end of my career if I said anything. In the Naval Security Group, everything was secret. So just one additional secret you had to keep.
You just couldn't talk about it. It was such a secret, and with our lives threatened, and who knows if they were monitoring us or doing whatever.
You ever repeat one word about the USS Liberty and who did it to you, I'll guarantee I'll see you in Leavenworth or worse. You know what worse means?
When you're told by the President of the United States, Secretary of Defense, to keep your mouth shut, don't say anything, and that's a direct order.
Israel had America by the scruff of the neck. Such was the need to cover up what America had got up to during the Six-Day War.
His girlfriend from the Mossad told him that he could raise all kinds of money to continue the Vietnam War.
He had been contacted by a man with a hoarse voice who said that he'd been a pilot that attacked at Liberty, and suddenly he disappears. There's no record. You can only suspect that it was as he feared. They deported him, they turned him over to the Israelis, took him back to Israel, court-martialed him secretly, and maybe have executed him.
The Liberty is a microcosm of this much bigger problem in the Middle East. And Americans need to know what happened. This story has to be told.
And so that we were under attack
by unknown jet aircraft.
They say get over it. You don't get over something like this. It haunts you.
The men would bring the body pieces up to me, and I tried to put them together to make a body out of them.
I don't know what the hell happened, and I haven't taken time to find out. I know nothing about it.
What I'm about to tell you is for your ears only. You are not to tell anyone during my lifetime.
I'm surprised I can even talk about that.
Never said.
That type of horror, your body is not going to remember. Your brain's not going to record it.
I think we sacrificed a lot of people for no good reason.
I am not saying anything about the Liberty, period.
That's our government for you right there.
Yeah.
And I might add, Rick Wiles of True News.
Yep.
He did that film. He's a producer of it. He owns it. And he graciously gave us permission to use the trailer, and we're going to try to cut it down into a 45-minute deal where people, because 4 hours is a long time to watch it. I don't know if you've watched it all.
I downloaded it. I think it was 4.5 hours when I downloaded it. So
yeah, so it's quite long, but it's quite informative too. But thank you, Rick Wiles, for being my friend and helping out the crew of the USS Liberty. What a great job he did.
Absolutely. And when I was talking to Ray, he did tell me about that. He did mention to me that you were working on cutting this down to 45 minutes and that you're trying to get it into theaters, right? And possibly even set up a USS Liberty roadshow the way Turning Point USA did.
Yes, absolutely. And that's something that we've been wanting to do for years, is, to educate the younger people, the Gen Z people, the younger generation are smart and very well educated, and they're all talking about the USS Liberty. Since the Candace interview come out with me, and it's just amazing how many young people said, well, I never learned about this in school. Why? Because you weren't supposed to. It was all covered up. You weren't supposed to. But if you didn't learn anything about it, it was a case of mistaken identity, which was ordered by Johnson within 7 days of a board of inquiry, only 7 days, which should have taken at least 6 months or a year, they decided, oopsie, it was a case of mistaken identity. So they got by with cold-blooded, premeditated murder, but our government isn't going to put a knife in their own back, or their masters in Israel, AIPAC. They're not going to put a knife in their back too. I mean, it's a cabal that could collapse a whole lot of things. So that's what they're afraid of. They just want us all to die out, Stu and Elisa. They can't wait till we're all, excuse my French, tits up out of here. That's what they want.
Well, I think that's the fact that, you're bringing people in a younger generation in. This legacy will continue. And it's a funny thing that you said about the younger generation, especially right now, like that early 20s, maybe, like late teens even. They think very differently. They're not as brainwashable. And they do their research, and they were brought up in the time of the internet. So when you tell them something, they don't just take your word for it. They want to start researching, going deeper and deeper. And I would venture to say that there are more young people today who see through the deception of what Israel's really about. And again, when we say that, we always have to preface this, because we're not talking about our Jewish friends. We're talking about the state of Israel. We're talking about the Zionists. We're talking about the structure. We're not talking about the average people, because we're all victims in one way or another. It's that higher power and what they've done and how they have done these evil things. And I think the exposure is happening, and it's going to just keep happening.
I think people are finding out as well that the whole point of school is to teach people everything but the truth, isn't it? About many, many subjects.
Absolutely. And, you made a good point, Elisa. This isn't about condemning the Jewish people. It's about condemning rogue government then and now.
Yeah.
There's been many, many Jews. Noam Chomsky is one of them. And even the Jews in America have been protesting against the war in Gaza. They don't support that. They don't want that. The Judeo-Christian values, they say, in the 90% or 100% of the churches here where I live, you say anything bad about Israel, and they don't want you in their congregation.
That's right.
They're brainwashed to think Israel can do no wrong, and if they have any common sense at all, or would like to learn the truth, just look what they did in Gaza. Look what they did to the USS Liberty, and those things are not. They're unforgivable. They're just unforgivable. How do you atone for that? Except there's one way you can tell the truth and let it all come out, and we start anew as a country. I think that we should. Well, President Washington said we should be beholding to any foreign government ahead of our own, and his words rang true, and they ring true now. But it hasn't been that way down as long as I've been alive, and I'm 79 years old now.
Yeah. Yeah. And we've all been victims of what the dark side has done. And I think this exposure is what's needed. So let's talk about your book, because I know you have a book, Staying Afloat. Tell me how that started, where it is, when it's going to be available for people to purchase.
Yes. Thank you. Yeah, the book is coming out. We're going to have it probably done by January. Before January, that's our goal. We're taking pre-orders on it now to Tourney podcast.com. It is a book that Ray is helping me with, and it's a book that I've written 4 books. This is probably the very best one. Actually, it's a memoir of my whole life and how it's affected my life, my family's life. and the turmoils that I've gone through in my life, you're going to learn a lot about me that you never knew. But yeah, I'm trying to be as transparent as I can. You can't do it any other ways. Just tell it like it is, even if you don't like to share things like that. It's important for me to do that. With my family members in there and telling the story of how it's affected their lives. But it's a great book, and I can tell already it's going to be a blockbuster. I really do believe that. I think it's really, really going to open some eyes. And it's a very, very, very in-depth book. And I hope people buy it, read it, and pass it on. So go to philtourneypodcast.com, order the book, pre-order it. Shirts, cups, hoodies, beautiful things for women too. We're going to have much more coming on.
Got a couple of your hats on here.
Oh yeah, we got some beautiful hats.
I think I'll have to get one of those for myself to wear on here.
Me too.
Great. That'd be wonderful. Hey, listen, I need all the support. We need all the support together because you guys are a lifeline. I hope you know that you're a lifeline for all of us. For the good of humanity is the truth, and the truth matters. It always will. It outweighs evil, and it's just got to be that way, or our country's going to fall.
Yeah. I think a lot of us podcasters, I get upset when there's infighting and disagreement. We all have different ways of expressing or beliefs, but it doesn't matter. We're all trying to get to the truth and expose the darkness. And, the more we can work together and support each other, that's what we're supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
Well,
exactly.
yeah. Love your fellow man. I mean, really, God preached that, and some of my fellow men, I don't love them, but, I wish them no harm. But being in the podcast business, trying to do the best you can is a real honor for me. And, without the social media 10 years, ago, this stuff didn't work like this. But now, look at the education. Look how far we've come with social media in a short amount of time. Like Candace Owens. She's the #1 podcaster, not just in America, but the world.
Yeah.
Candace Owens for president, 2028. That's my goal.
Yeah, I just want to say, I know you've taken an awful lot of flack as well and been called many names and stuff, but everyone out there podcasting, and even people that don't put their face online, people that just talk about this truth, the crazy Tim Paul hatters and all that to all their friends, we've all been called so many names, but we keep on and we keep at them, and together we're going to win. I know that.
That's what it's all about, winning and telling the truth. And I believe that till the day I die. The truth matters more than anything. It's refreshing for me because there's nothing I can lie about. The truth is so unbelievable, and it's just not me. And you talked about a group of us, Elisa. Mr. Mo Schaefer, he was an NSA spy. Mickey LeMay, he was a ship's company like me. We were both in engineering. Ed Bechtel, he was another spy. Larry Bowen, another spy. We would like to get those guys together, the ones that are willing to do it, and I think they all are, on college campuses, talking to the younger people, taking questions and answer. We're good, anything we can do to get them on board to learn the truth is our goal, because now is the time to listen to the survivors. We've never had a voice, but now we do. And the USS Liberty Veterans Association, you go to libertyveterans.org. We're building a brand new website. It's going to be just as good as mine, or not better. But that's another refreshing thing. You're going to love it too. We're in the process of getting that done. So it's going to be a really beautiful 1920 or 2026. 19, boy, I'm going back to the old days.
So this group that is going to be going to college, that people, let's say if there's a university or if someone's watching right now and they want to arrange that? Is that through the website that they could go on and then contact to say, hey, I would love you gentlemen to come and speak? Or is that where the booking, so to speak, takes place, through the website?
It does. It isn't quite set up yet, but it is on my podcast, Phil Tourney, podcast.com. You can book things like that, and we can start early and get people on the ball, trying to get us into their universities or wherever we can speak to people. And they don't listen. We're not out there to change their minds. We just want them to use their own common sense. We'll present our story and let them use their own common sense and their own American pride, their American belief in freedom and justice for all. They can decide in their own minds and what's right and what's wrong. And we'll take any question they throw at us.
Absolutely. Hey, Stu, I just had a crazy idea. What if we did a roundtable on our podcast if some of these gentlemen want to come on? If that's something that's doable.
That would be amazing.
Yeah, if you could do that, that would be wonderful. And I'll get you the guys.
Okay.
Good guys, hero. They're all my heroes, all of them. I love them to death. We worked together. There was nobody on that was coming to help us except us, our will and wits to live and take care of each other. And that's what it was. We all saved each other. There's a lot of heroes. They got medals and stuff, but I think they're all heroes. I don't care if they got a medal or not. We all saved each other for one purpose, to stay alive. And a lot of them still don't want to talk about it, but those that do, they will talk about it honestly and openly and with a sincere heart.
Yeah, they deserve the spotlight to talk about this. They really do.
Yeah, I think
absolutely.
I think we can get 10 people on here. So if we can fill it up, that would be amazing. I'd love to do that.
Yeah. Should we work directly with you, Phil? Should I work with Ray? Like, how would we start something like that, like a process? Would we reach out to the individuals?
I would, Elisa, I would go to Ray, work with Ray. He takes care of all my bookings and my podcasts and everything.
Okay.
Yeah, he's kind of my secretary. He's everything. He's just, without him, I don't know what I'd be doing right now, but God brought him to me and we became really good friends because he's so sincere, and the USS Liberty means the world to him. He didn't know about it until just recently.
Wow.
Say a year back or so. And he became so engulfed in it. And when I went on his podcast, and we started talking, and we talked afterwards. This guy is for real. And get a hold of Ray.
Okay.
He'll take care of it.
Perfect.
Amazing.
Yeah. So, and did you actually tell us when the book is available, when the actual launch date is? I know people could go to your website now and they could probably pre-order. They could start to put their names down to pre-order. When does the book actually, make its introduction?
January 1.
Okay. So it's right around the corner.
Yes.
Perfect.
Yes. In fact, I'll be working on another chapter today, and it's moving along fine. So we'll make our drop dead date by then. Hook or crook, but it'll be out, and I encourage everybody to read it.
Absolutely. Well, this has been such an honor on so many levels. I think you're so brave, and you've taken whatever God means you to do, and you're just taking it to everyone that needs to hear this. And thank you. We can't thank you enough for your service and your sacrifice and what you had to live with all these years, and the betrayal. And it's all coming out, and you have a lot of allies now who are standing with you to help get this message out.
Well, thank you. God bless you both. And Stu, it's my honor to meet you, sir. And Elisa, you're always there. You're such a gentle, beautiful, nice lady.
Oh, thank
And
you.
you, by the way, you are beautiful. You're very good looking.
Thank you.
But no, I meant that respectfully, of course.
Yes.
But no, it's great you guys took the time out to do this, and we'll do it again. Just give me a buzz, let Ray know, and we'll get everything set up. And remember the USS Liberty, and don't forget to go to philtourneypodcast.com and get your book and your shirts and your mugs and your hats today. We'll get them shipped out to you for Christmas.
Perfect.
Well, I'm going to spend the rest of the day sharing this podcast on all my channels. I'm going to go to your website and get myself a hat. And I've never been in the military, but that is a amazing story. And I salute you, sir, for everything that you do.
I salute you back, sir. God bless you both. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, everyone, for watching. This has been amazing. And we'll see you tomorrow.